The sun hung low in the sky, bathing everything in a warm, golden light. I was relaxing on the porch with Clara, the gentle breeze ruffling my hair, when suddenly the calm was shattered. Felicity appeared out of nowhere, her smile wide and bright. I felt a strange twist in my stomach as she stepped onto our porch, her presence shifting the atmosphere in a way I couldn't quite explain. "Surprise!" Felicity exclaimed, her voice cheerful as she waved. Clara's smile faltered for an instant, but she quickly masked it, welcoming her sister with open arms. "Hey, Felicity, what a nice surprise," Clara said, her tone warm, but the tension in her eyes clear to me. As Felicity settled in, I felt my unease grow. She seemed to have an unspoken agenda, her visits becoming more frequent. I caught her watching me with a glimmer in her eyes that made my heart race and my mind whirl. I tried to brush it off, but every time she laughed, every time our eyes met, the spark became harder to ignore. "Elliot, remember that time we went to the lake?" Felicity asked, her voice light. Yet I detected something deeper beneath it. "You were such a terrible swimmer." "Hey, I was just trying to keep my head above water," I replied, forcing a chuckle, but inside, I was conflicted. I loved Clara and our life together. Yet here was Felicity, drawing me into a chaos I didn't want to acknowledge. "Maybe I should take swimming lessons from you," she teased, leaning closer, her laughter echoing in my ears. I felt the warmth of her body near mine, and it sent a jolt through me. Why was I feeling this way about her? It was Clara I wanted to be close to, not her sister. Every time Felicity came around, it felt like I was caught in a tug-of-war between loyalty and desire. I was losing my grip, and it scared me. The bond I thought was unbreakable, the love I cherished, suddenly felt like a choking rope, tightening around my throat. "Elliot, are you okay?" Clara's voice broke through my thoughts, pulling me back to reality. "Yeah, just thinking," I replied. But the truth was that I was drowning in confusion. Felicity's presence stirred feelings I never wanted to feel, and I didn't know how to navigate this new territory. "Thinking about what?" Clara pressed, her brow furrowing. "Just life, I guess." I shrugged, hoping to change the subject, but the shadows in Clara's eyes told me she sensed something off. Felicity's gaze flickered between us, a smile still plastered on her face, but I saw the tension in her shoulders. Was she aware of the line she was crossing? Why did it feel like she was trying to pull me away from Clara, even unknowingly? I needed to figure this out, but every time I looked at Felicity, that spark ignited again. I was torn between the warmth of Clara's love and the allure of Felicity's attention. It was a dangerous game, and I felt like a pawn, caught in a battle I never wanted to be part of. "Let's play a game," Felicity suggested suddenly, her enthusiasm infectious. I noticed Clara's hesitation, but she nodded, trying to keep the peace. "What do you have in mind?" I asked, trying to sound engaged, but my heart wasn't in it. "Oh, how about a little truth or dare?" Felicity said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. I could feel my heart race as I exchanged glances with Clara. I knew this could lead to trouble, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more at stake than just a game. What secrets would emerge? What truths would we dare to face? "All right, let's do it," I said, trying to sound casual. But as the game began, I couldn't shake the thought that I was stepping into a trap of my own making, one that could unravel everything I held dear. As I sat on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I couldn't help but reflect on how things used to be. My friendship with Felicity had begun so simply, so innocently. We would laugh and share stories, two kids lost in the joy of each other's company. I remembered one afternoon vividly. It was a sunny Saturday, and we had gone to the lake, skipping stones and daring each other to jump in. I could still hear her laughter echoing in my mind. "Elliot, look at this!" Felicity had called out, her voice bright with excitement. She had thrown a stone with all her might, and it skipped 3 times before sinking. "I bet you can't do better." "Challenge accepted," I had replied, grinning as I picked up a stone and tried my best. We spent hours there, the sun warming our skin and the water sparkling around us. Those moments felt pure, untouched by any complications. But as the days passed, everything began to change. I could never have imagined that Felicity's presence would start to weigh on my heart. Each time she visited, I felt that familiar unease creeping in. Her smile was charming, yet there was an edge to it, a hidden tension that I couldn't quite place. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it lingered like a shadow. "Hey, Elliot, can I ask you something?" Felicity said one evening as we sat together on the couch, Clara in the kitchen preparing dinner. The way she leaned closer made my heart race. "Do you think I could ever be more than just Clara's sister to you?" I felt a jolt of confusion shoot through me. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, hoping to keep the conversation light. "I don't know," she replied, her eyes glimmering with mischief. "Sometimes I think there's a spark between us." Her words hung in the air like a thick fog, and I suddenly felt trapped between my loyalty to Clara and the undeniable tension brewing with Felicity. In those moments, I couldn't help but think of Clara. My heart ached at the thought of hurting her. We had built something beautiful together, filled with laughter and love. I recalled a night when we had stayed up late, talking about our dreams and future. Clara had looked into my eyes and said, "You're my everything, Elliot. I can't imagine life without you." Those words echoed in my mind, battling against Felicity's teasing glances and playful touches. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, teetering between desire and loyalty. Then, one evening, Clara and I were on the couch, watching a movie together. I could sense her vulnerability. "Elliot," she began, her voice shaky, "do you ever think about what it would be like if I wasn't around? Like, if something happened to me?" The question hit me like a punch to the gut. "Of course not. I love you, Clara. You're the one I want to be with," I assured her, though a part of me felt the weight of guilt pressing down harder than before. She looked at me, her eyes searching mine for truth. I sometimes feel like I'm not enough, like you could find happiness elsewhere." "No, Clara," I insisted, my heart racing. "You are more than enough for me. Please don't doubt that." But deep down, I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Felicity's presence was starting to change everything. As the days passed, Felicity's playful behavior grew bolder. She would touch my arm while laughing at a joke, or lean in just a bit too close when we talked. I felt my resolve slipping, and with it, my connection to Clara felt like it was fraying at the edges. One afternoon, as we sat in the backyard, Felicity turned to me with a serious look in her eyes. "Elliot, can I be honest with you? I really like you, more than you know." My heart raced, and I felt a rush of emotions. "Felicity, I don't know what to say." Her smile faded a little, but she held my gaze. "I just needed you to know. I can't help how I feel." Suddenly, everything felt heavy. The warmth of the spring sun turned into a stifling heat, and I realized I was standing at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. And as I looked at Felicity, I felt a familiar spark, one that both thrilled and terrified me. The night began with laughter and the flickering light of the television casting shadows on the walls. It was supposed to be just another movie night with Clara and Felicity. I settled into the couch, feeling the familiar comfort of Clara beside me. But as Felicity took her place on my other side, I sensed a shift in the air. It was as if the comfortable bubble we usually shared had been pricked, letting in an unsettling current. As the movie played, I tried to focus on the screen, but my mind kept wandering. The way Felicity leaned in, her shoulder brushing against mine, sent a jolt through me. I stole a glance at Clara, her eyes glued to the movie, blissfully unaware of the tension brewing on the other side of me. But I was aware, and it made my heart race. Then it happened. An accidental brush of hands. I had reached for the popcorn at the same moment Felicity had. Our fingers touched, and it felt electric. I looked at her, and our eyes locked for just a heartbeat longer than necessary. In that moment, everything felt different. The air was thick with unspoken words, and I could see something shift in her expression. "Did you like that part?" she asked, her voice a whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "Yeah, it was good," I replied, my throat suddenly dry. "But I think the movie is a bit predictable." Felicity smiled, but there was a glimmer of something deeper in her gaze. "Maybe we should watch something more exciting next time," she teased. "Something that keeps you on the edge of your seat." I chuckled nervously, but my mind was racing. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hinting at something more than just movies. It felt like we were playing a dangerous game, and I was trapped in the middle. The movie rolled on, but I was lost in my thoughts. How did it come to this? I loved Clara. She was my rock, my safe place. Yet, every time I was near Felicity, I felt an undeniable pull, a longing I didn't want to acknowledge. "Elliot?" Felicity's voice broke through my thoughts, soft and almost vulnerable. "Can I tell you something?" I turned to her, my heart pounding in my chest. "Sure. What is it?" "I've been thinking about us," she said, hesitating as if weighing her words carefully. "About what we could be." My stomach dropped. I glanced at Clara, who was still engrossed in the movie, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beside her. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Felicity leaned closer, her breath warm against my ear. "I've wanted more than just friendship with you for a long time. I can't help it. I feel this connection between us." The words hung in the air like a heavy weight. I felt torn, caught between the girl who had my heart and the sister who had ignited a fire within me. "Felicity, Before I could finish, she interrupted me. "Just think about it, Elliot. Please." Her eyes searched mine, pleading for understanding. I wanted to push her away, to deny what she was saying, but all I could do was nod. "I'll think about it," I said, but deep down, I knew I was lying. As the movie continued, I felt the walls closing in. The bond I had with Clara felt like a lifeline, yet Felicity's words echoed in my mind, stirring something deep within me. I was losing my grip on everything I held dear. Then came the moment of weakness that would change everything. As I shifted on the couch, Felicity leaned in, and before I knew it, her lips brushed against mine. A soft, tentative kiss that sent shockwaves through my body. I was paralyzed, my heart racing as I realized what I was doing. I pulled back, breathless. "What have we done?" I whispered, panic flooding my veins. Felicity looked at me, a mix of excitement and fear in her eyes. "I don't know, but it felt right in that moment." "Right?" I echoed, my mind spiraling. "What about Clara? I can't betray her like this." Felicity's expression shifted, a hint of sadness crossing her features. "You're the one who needs to decide what you truly want, Elliot." In that moment, I felt the weight of my choices crashing down on me. I was at a crossroads, and I knew I had to face the truth. The bond I had with Clara was strong, but Felicity had opened a door I never meant to unlock. And now, as I looked into Felicity's eyes, I realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The day began like any other, with the sun shining through the living room window, casting warm rays across the floor. But there was a heavy weight in the air, a tension that felt almost tangible. I sat on the couch, staring blankly at the television. my mind wandering to the moment I had shared with Felicity just days before. That kiss was not just a mistake. It felt like a portal to chaos, and now I was trapped in it. Clara walked into the room, her face lit up with a radiant smile. "Hey, what are you thinking about?" she asked, her voice sweet and innocent. I forced a smile back, but inside I was a storm. "Oh, just thinking about work. You know how it is." She tilted her head, her eyes searching mine. "You sure? You seem a bit off today." "Just tired," I lied. "It's been a long week." As Clara left the room, I felt a pang of guilt wash over me. I loved her, and yet the memory of Felicity's touch lingered like a ghost. I tried to shake it off, but the unease settled deeper. Later that afternoon, the doorbell rang. I knew who it was before even looking through the peephole. Felicity stood there, her smile bright, but her eyes betraying an underlying tension. I hesitated for a moment, then opened the door. "Hey, Elliot. I thought I'd drop by," she said, with a casualness that felt forced. Hey, Felicity," I replied, stepping aside to let her in. As she walked past me, I could smell her perfume, a mix of something floral and sweet. It made my heart race, and I hated myself for it. "Is Clara home?" she asked, glancing around the living room. "No, she went out for a bit," I managed to say, trying to keep my voice steady. The air felt thick between us, and I didn't know how to break the tension. Felicity's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Perfect. We can hang out, just the two of us." I swallowed hard, the weight of my secret pressing down on me. Yeah, sure. What do you want to do?" "Let's watch a movie. I brought some snacks," she said, pulling out a bag of popcorn from her purse as if it were the most normal thing in the world. As we settled onto the couch, I felt the space between us shrink. The movie started, but I barely paid attention. All I could think about was how wrong this felt. But as Felicity leaned in closer, I could feel the heat radiating from her body, and I found myself drawn to her against my better judgment. "Elliot," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath, "can I be honest with you?" I turned my gaze toward her, my heart pounding. Yeah. What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking about us. About that kiss," she said, her eyes locking onto mine. "I want more. I can't stop thinking about you." My breath hitched in my throat. The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "Felicity, we can't—" Before I could finish, she leaned in, her lips brushing against mine. I was lost in the moment, the world around us fading away. I felt a rush of desire, but then the guilt crashed over me like a wave. I pulled back, shaking my head, as if to clear the fog. "Felicity, I can't do this. I'm with Clara," I said, my voice strained. Her expression shifted from desire to disappointment, and I could see the hurt in her eyes. "I thought you felt the same way." "I do, but I also love Clara," I replied, feeling my heart breaking as I spoke the words. "This isn't right." Suddenly, the front door opened, and Clara walked in, her face lighting up until she caught sight of us. The joy turned to shock, and in that moment, I saw the heartbreak wash over her. It felt like time stopped. "Elliot, what's going on?" she asked, her voice trembling. I felt my heart drop as I looked between the two women. Clara's eyes were filled with betrayal, and I knew I had shattered something precious. "Clara, Save it," she interrupted, her voice sharp. "I can see everything I need to know." As Clara turned away, tears filling her eyes, I felt a part of me shatter. The bond I believed to be unbreakable was now a fragile thread, frayed and torn. I had caused this pain, and there was no way to take it back. Felicity stepped back, her face a mask of regret. "I'm sorry, Elliot. I didn't mean for this to happen." But it was too late for apologies. Clara was gone, and I was left alone with the weight of my choices, the shadow of what I had done looming large over me. As I sat on the edge of my bed, I stared at the wall, lost in thought. The sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting soft shadows in the room. I felt a heaviness in my chest, a weight I could not shake off. I knew I had hurt Clara deeply, and the guilt gnawed at me. I needed to understand why I let everything spiral out of control. I took a deep breath and picked up my phone. My fingers trembled as I scrolled through my contacts until I found Clara's name. I hesitated for a moment, uncertain if I should reach out, but I knew I had to try. I pressed the call button, my heart racing as I listened to the rings. "Hello?" Clara's voice came through, cold and distant. "Clara, it's me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can we talk?" There was a long pause. "What do you want, Elliot?" "I want to apologize," I said, my voice breaking. "I know I messed up, and I need you to know how sorry I am." "You think an apology will fix everything?" she replied, anger lacing her words. "You betrayed my trust. How can I ever look at you the same way again?" Her words struck me like a blow. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want to explain. I want you to understand." "Understand what?" Clara shot back. "That you kissed my sister? That you let everything fall apart?" I closed my eyes, feeling tears sting at my lashes. "I was confused, Clara. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened, and I wish I could take it back." "Confused," she echoed, her voice softening slightly. "You were supposed to love me. How could you let it go so easily?" The silence stretched between us, thick with unspoken pain. "I do love you, Clara. I always have. But I let my feelings for Felicity cloud my judgment. I see that now." "Do you?" she questioned, skepticism evident in her tone. "Or are you just saying what you think I want to hear?" I felt a surge of desperation. "No, Clara. This is real. I want to make it right. I want to rebuild what we had. I can't imagine my life without you." "What do you think needs to happen for that to be possible?" she asked, her voice steady but still hurt. "I need to show you that I can be better. I need to prove to you that I can earn back your trust," I replied, my heart racing with hope. "We can talk things through, share what we feel. I want to know what you think, and I need you to know how much I regret everything." Clara sighed, the weight of her emotions palpable even through the phone. "I don't know if I'm ready for that, Elliot. I'm still hurting." "I understand," I said softly. "But can we at least try? I want to hear how you feel. I want you to express everything, even if it's hard." Another pause, and I could almost hear her thoughts racing. "Fine, but this is going to be difficult." "I'm ready for that," I said, determination filling me. "Let's meet tomorrow. We can talk in person." "Okay," she replied reluctantly. "But just so you know, this isn't going to be easy for either of us." "I know, but I believe it's worth it," I said, my voice filled with sincerity. After hanging up, I felt a mix of fear and hope. I was finally taking a step towards understanding the pain I caused Clara. I knew I had to confront my feelings for Felicity as well. Those feelings were still there, but now I understood that attraction could lead to destruction if left unchecked. The next day, I met Clara at our favorite cafe. As I walked in, I spotted her sitting at a corner table, her expression guarded. I took a deep breath and approached her. "Hey," I said, sitting down across from her. "Hey," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm glad we're doing this," I said, trying to keep the conversation open. Clara looked down at her coffee, her hands wrapped around the cup. I need to get everything off my chest. Please do, I encouraged, leaning in closer. She looked up, her eyes filled with hurt. You made me feel like I was not enough. Her words pierced through my heart. That was never my intention, Clara. I see that now. I was selfish, and I'm so sorry for that. The conversation unfolded, filled with raw emotions and difficult truths. Clara shared her pain, and I listened, absorbing every word. Slowly, we began to navigate the complexities of trust, love, and the possibility of forgiveness. As we talked, I realized that this was just the beginning of a long journey. But for the first time since the betrayal, I felt a flicker of hope. Clara was strong, and together, we could find a path to redemption. As I sat across from Clara at our kitchen table, the sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on her face. It was a moment filled with both hope and uncertainty. We had decided to start the long journey of healing together, and I could feel the weight of our shared pain hanging in the air. Elliot, Clara said softly, breaking the silence. I know this is hard for both of us, but I really want us to talk about what happened. I nodded, my heart racing. I want that too, Clara. I never meant to hurt you. I got lost along the way. She looked down, tracing her fingers over the edge of her coffee cup. It's okay to feel confused. I just need to understand why it happened. Why, Felicity? Her question hung in the air like a heavy fog. I took a deep breath, gathering my thoughts. I think I was caught off guard by her attention. It felt nice, but that doesn't excuse what I did. I should have been honest with you from the start. Clara's eyes met mine, filled with a mix of sadness and determination. We need to rebuild our trust, Elliot. It's not going to be easy, but I believe we can do it. I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. I want to work on this too. I want to show you that you are the one I love. I need to figure out how to do that. As we talked, we began to explore the depths of our love. After our talk, Clara and I walked away feeling lighter. That wasn't easy, Clara said, squeezing my hand. No, but I think it was necessary, I replied. We faced it together. In that moment, I realized how much our journey had changed me. I appreciated the complexities of love and the fragility of trust. I made a silent promise to Clara that I would nurture the delicate threads that bound us, ensuring they would never again transform into a suffocating rope. Share this story if you believe that love can conquer even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about a time when confronting someone changed your life, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one.